back everyone. Today we're going to, this ACCO here, this is International ACCO 1971 model. It's sat around for a long time, as you can see. It's in fantastic condition. Last time I went to use it, I'd done an introduction, and I was going to start her up and run some dirt up to the house with the garden and that I'm doing up there. But when I put my foot on the clutch, it just bent the rod going into the master cylinder. Because as most of you would know, that mechanically minded brake fluid will absorb moisture, and that's exactly what it's done. So it's locked the piston up in that, and it's bent the rods. But I got another one for, I think, 18 bucks off eBay. It's just a 3/4 master cylinder off the front of a box trailer or something like that. That's all they are. So in this video I'll be replacing it, then we'll see if we can get it going. She sat here for a few years, and we might use the old Clark loader to run a few loads up to the house with her. I've been using the Mac, but I thought you've all seen that, so I've got to fix this one anyway. So what we'll do, we'll get it going and use it. So I'll do another story for those. A lot of you people may not have seen an International ACCO like this. These are only in Australia and New Zealand, and possibly a few went to Vietnam for the war. Apart from that, they were made here in Australia, in Melbourne. So I'll do another story just on ACCO trucks, international in Australia, because my knowledge is brief, but I do know a fair bit about them. So that'll be in another story, so I'm not yakking so much in this. But while I've got this, I'll just turn the camera around. A lot of yous probably know Australia for the quite venomous, dangerous, shiny things that lay in the grass. Now, they can be quite dangerous if you get enough of them into you. Now, I saw one over here before next to this old crane truck, and if we sneak up on him, I'll sneak up on him here. I'm just having a quick snack here. I'll just sit her down here. If we go quietly, he might still be laying here. Now, I'll just get a stick here. Look, here's a stick here. See if we can't wake him up. Now these, for those of you who haven't heard of them, they're known as a King Brown over here. Just sneak along here. You can see him there, look. Look at that bastard there, look here. You see? There he is there. You've got to be careful with these over here. You've probably all heard of them. So that there in Australia, you've probably all heard, and that's a King Brown. Now you've got to watch out for him. The way to tell, I think he's going to be alright, this one. Yeah, there he is there, see. Now the way you can tell with these bastards, if they're any good, they've generally, depending on what species they are, they've generally, I won't get too close in case she's still alive, they've generally got a, I used a stick. Generally got like a gold, blue or yellow, something like that, a little cap on top there. Now when they shed those, they don't last long, and they end up like this. So this one to me looks like he's warmed up a bit, and he's shed his skin a fair while back. So what I'll do is I'll set the camera up and I'll show you how to handle one of these. I'd say he's dead, but we're just going to take a little bit of precaution here. Set the camera up here and okay, now I'm going to show you how to handle one of these. You've got to be, I think he's dead, but you can't be too sure. So I'll spin him round and show you him out in the open here a bit. But clear some grass around him so you can see him. Just going to do you always touch him from the back here. So yeah, see, he's warm, see? He's been laying here a while, I think we're okay. But I'll pick him up. Actually, before we do that, we roll him over. I don't know if you can see. If we roll him over, it'll have a different colour underneath him. So if it's yellow or something, they're not so bad, but if they're blue or green or red or something, there, see, he's blue, this one. So it would have been, say, if you got bit by 3 or 4 of these, you're going to be well. You know, you're going to be out there. Things are going to start happening for you. So the yellow ones, you got to get a lot longer than that, a lot longer. So a lot many more times. So just pick him up here. I think he's okay. So when you grab one of these, the dangerous end's up here, where I said that cap come from earlier. When they shed that, that's the dangerous end. So you pick them up, but you immediately do that. Because this is where the dangerous end. If you tip them over, that's no good. You can't get any of it on the grass because it's no good. So you just sort of go like that into your mouth and back down. That's how you handle these. Quite a dangerous drop. Now, sitting there for a minute, and just if you're, I don't know if you're on your handheld devices or your lounge with your television, but just sit back and just have a good think about how lovely and cold that would have been when it was new. How lovely and cold it would have been. Now, imagine the bloke carrying it out of the shop, how proud he would have been with it. And you never know, this particular one here may have been part of a 3-pack we could get here in Sydney for $10.99 back a few years ago. You get you carry 3 of them out of the shop wrapped in plastic together, and they were beautiful, lovely and cold at the time. So just think about that for a minute while you're looking at him. So there he is there. Now we'll leave him alone. So he's been gone for a while, that one. So, but what I will show you, now they've been known to have babies. They've been known to have they leave nests, and the biggest one of the most common places for them to leave a nest is in old equipment like this, in behind the seats and that, if you know what I mean. So I think most of these being down in the bush here, you're going to look in behind the seat and you're going to find baby ones of those. Now let's just have a look. Every one of these you're probably going to find one. Now one in particular, I know that there was a nest. There's this one over here, this old Mac, and they seem to like those Macs. Especially the green ones, they like Macs. I'll just sneak up on him here. Okay, this old girl here, yep. I'll show you where her nest is now. We've got to be quiet. They generally like in behind the seat, under the seat, on the floor mat, something like that. So if we open it quick, you might see them. Ready? Yeah, they're still there. Look. There they are there, see. There's also different varieties. If you sneak in there, see there's a glass one up there. These are those yellow ones I was talking about. Now they're not so dangerous. You can touch those. Touch quite a lot of those before you end up getting hurt. So look at them in there. See, that was quite a big litter. That big bastard out over there, it probably is, I'd say. Look at them in under there. These ones here, if you don't know what you're doing with these green ones, can be very, very dangerous. You can end up quite sick off those. That's why I don't touch those at all. So that's a King Brown over there next to the crane truck, and that's a litter off them. So I think that's another lesson for you all. So I'm going to go back to fixing the truck now. I think I've talked enough shit. Okay, so back at the old ACCO here. I'll do a story on this one, why it's missing so many bits and pieces in such bad condition, but basically this is all we've got to do is change this. So I've got the bolt undone, I've got the pipe off it. There's one bolt to do and the clevis off the pedal, and then we'll pop him out. And then it's getting late Friday afternoon here, and tomorrow morning we'll hopefully have a bled up tonight, and then tomorrow morning we'll see if the motor will go in her and run her down to the loader down the bottom there, and we'll see if she goes. So these are 1/2 inch UNC heads, 5/16 UNC threads and a 1/2 inch head. So I've got one out. I was only using an open end, so it shows how loose they were. They generally spread apart when I use them. Flare out and carry on, then you round it off and you can never get it out. So I may have to get in the cab here. You can see down through there. Fucking spider webs here, Renner. If any of you can see that, just guide me onto it, will you? Okay. Expected these to be all rusted in and with the rain and everything on it, you know. Down in here. So these are just Internationals are very basic. They're made, I think they've only got about 4 wires in them and a couple of air hoses, and they do everything they should do. There's nothing on these old trucks that doesn't need to be there. No heaters, no air cons, no nothing. They're just a couple of wires, a few hoses, and that's it. So these would just offer horse float or a bloody old car or a box trailer or anything on the drawbar. They'd mounted these if you had hydraulic overrides on her. And got one off eBay for 18 bucks, as I said, and you don't have to go to an International dealer or chase parts for a classic truck, that's for sure. I've actually put one on the old green one I got up there. I'll show you that in the next video when I explain a bit about the old ACCOs here in Australia. But she's got one on her and it still works, because I haven't driven it for a while, but I got in there and pressed it the other day when I found out this one was locked up, just to see if it was doing the same thing. So it's not coming out. I haven't got a fucking nut on it. I reckon it has. It has too. I couldn't see that in here. That's why she's not coming out. Finger tight anyway, it's all good. I got her. Stop worrying. Okay, so there is a washer that holds the clevis, the rod in, but I think when I tried to press it in, it flared that out and dropped the rod, so it should just pull straight out. Yeah, it did. So I'll show you here if you can see that. Might be a bit close, but yeah. So she's still stuck out. So that's clutch out, driving position. So that doesn't look that old, to be honest with you. Maybe it's I'm sure it was the green one up there that I put a new one on. This doesn't look that old, but hey, for 18 bucks, drop another one on him. From memory, the last one come with a different, just a welded rod. I had to put the adjustable one in there. We'll see what this one's got. Yeah, see, it's same thing, exactly the same. $18. Now, why would you bother resealing that? This one here, if you peel the Frenchie off her, she's so that washer in there I bent on this one. It just fell out, it collapsed. But I'll have to pull that circlip out and put the adjustable rod in. But the problem is with it, the adjustable rod in the actual truck one, it's bent, so we'll have to put him on the anvil and straighten him out. So I'll go and get it. It's still hanging off the pedal. I'll pull the clevis out of that and we'll get back. You can see this rod, how it's been bent. I tried to straighten it over there with a hammer, but I'll hit it on a harder surface. I can't get that bend out of there, but you want to get all the bends, because if the clutch is heavy, it'll just kink again. So we'll do what we can. Not too bad. It's got a bit of a kink in it, but it never had a heavy clutch anyway. It only bent because I tried to force it, and when you force it, it's gonna wreck something else anyway. I just tried it, so I knew what the problem was. So I think that'll do, unless we take it up the workshop and try a bit more. But I'm sure it's going to be fine. Okay. We got this. I pulled the rod out of this one. I didn't show that on. Actually, no, I did. I pulled the end out of this one. That came with it. As I said, it's welded set length. You can see the length difference that we need there. It's just too much. So put the adjustable one on it. And the problem we're going to have here is that thread there's had it from. Hopefully, there's enough play in the pedal, or you know, the pins are maybe a bit worn or something. If we don't need that thread there to get a bit of back free play in the pedal. So I'll put all this together, put this dinger on her ear. It's got a chamfer around it that sits on that ball there on the Surrey. It just pops on there, and then we, oh shit, I should have put the Frenchy on her first, shouldn't I? Hang on. Sound like I know what I'm talking about here, but I don't. Pop that back off. First things first, I keep forgetting that rubber, so I'll put that on. Get the shit out of her. And then this again. Yeah, and then that. Sir clip, so we'll put him on. Oh, he's overlapped that. Hang on, he's come off. King Brown bit me, I think, bastard. Okay. Down in there, that in there. These pliers here, hopefully it flings off and ends up in the grass. They generally do. Make sure he snaps into the groove there. That won't really matter when the pedal's going to hold it in anyway, but that's how it's meant to be. Roll the Frenchy over it. And the next thing is to replace this adapter here, so got a spanner for him. Okay, we're back. I had to break him off camera because it was tight. I couldn't bloody lean over and talk to you as well. Believe it or not, that was tight. Look, it's all lubricated and it's tiny. Anyhow, the tighter the better, right? I'll put that bolt in first. Plug out of it. Copper washer on there, there's nothing you can do with them. You can put a bit of oil or grease on them if you like, but it won't matter as long as it's tight. I guess a bit of lube wouldn't hurt if it's tight, would it? Anyway, 5/8 on her, and that's it. So that bolt there has a nut on it. That's why it's longer than that one, because it's threaded into the pedal housing, which has got the brake and the clutch pedal hanging off it. So this is rubbish, and now we'll fit it. I'll put a bit of spray on those bolts, they're a bit rusty. Got the 1/2 inch Sid chrome here, made in Australia, look at that. 7/16 on the other end of her. Should be using a ring spanner, yes I know, but all this only needs a nip. I'll try and reroute them bastards, they're in my way. Fucking thing, no, it's not going to work, I'll have to fight with it. Be a bastard to start too, these bloody copper tubes with the flare nut on them. I always fight against you. I can take them off, yes, but I can still get to it. the spray on him. Leave him a bit loose because I'll bleed it to that point first after I get the bloody clever spin on her, and then that line should still be full. I'll probably end up bleeding it, but you're better off reverse bleeding something like this. It's so low down the bottom to pump the air through. I can't afford proper brake fluid, so I thought I'd tip a bit of lemon lime bitters into her. Kidding. Okay. Maybe I can pump it while I reach through there and give her a couple of presses. Excuse my arm there. Clutch is hitting that governor. What's holding that bastard? Oh, it's just floating there. She's come off, see? I wonder it's hitting it. Okay, it's the next day, everyone. When I pressed that clutch yesterday, I'm not sure it was on video, I'll have to check when I edit it, but the slave cylinder was tight too, so when I pushed the clutch down, that bolt on the push rod, it actually broke, so I haven't got a 5/16, it's 5/16 UNF thread. I've only got one just long enough, so I might just round off the end of it, just to sort of shape it like that so it sits in the piston alright, and I might just get a couple of threads and tack weld it, so as long as it's pushing straight it can't break. This one was bent and it was already cracked, so it would have just, it popped, so like welding things I don't have to, but it's going to get it going. It's not on the road, so put a few tacks on her. Should do just fine. Pushing dead straight, so I can't see how that's going to break. The clutch isn't heavy, as I said, it was just because the slave cylinder was tight and that made it pop again, so now that it's all working that should be fine. So that there's only, it's probably in 2 threads, so if I ever found the proper rod again, if you just slice it through there with one of those 1mm cut-off wheels, you'd have a nice clean thread to play with again. So it hasn't wrecked that at all. It'll get us going to do a few loads with her in a video, so put it together here. I'll have to trim a bit out of that actually. Yep.
fallen to bits on me, bastard. It goes on there, it goes in there. As long as it doesn't fit in the cup, as the piston as good as the original one did, obviously. But as long as it's pushed this circlip in, it's not holding it down, it's going to work fine. Don't want it held down because then it covers the orifice and it doesn't let the fluid back into it. There's a bit of free play there still, which is great. So that's it. Now we'll go back down to the truck and put her on. I'll just video the trip down the back because we might see a few kangaroos or wallabies, and I know you overseas viewers appreciate that. It's going to be about 40 degrees here today, Celsius, so that's hot. I'm starting to feel it already, so they might be all in the shade, but there's a heap of them down here yesterday afternoon when it cooled off, especially when the grass has been slashed. They like that. Oh, there's a little one in the shade there. You watch him stand up. I'll see if I can. There's two there. See? There they are. They get used to this vehicle. You can get closer and closer each time, but they're still not. They're still not tame enough to stay there. There was one older fella here, he used to let you get right near him, you could nearly touch him, but he'd take off. I never ever did touch him, but used to be able to approach him fairly quickly. As I said, they're all in the shade today because it's bloody hot already here, so. There she is. She hasn't grown any more skin back overnight, she's still rusted out. Okay, got the master cylinder mounted. I'm going to try and reverse bleed it because it's so low and pump the air down here. It still will, but if you push it all back up and out through the out through the reservoir. It'll work a lot better. I've got this little pump bottle. I've already primed that hose, that plastic hose there. This should push it up and you should see it start dripping out of the reservoir. Just got that bleed nipple cracked on the slave cylinder. Still working out how to use this. If it works, it should bubble out of the reservoir on the master. Actually, I might have still had the cap on, I'm not sure. Okay, so I've got the clutch blade, got a pedal now. It's not how I'd like it because that rod's still a bit short and there's so much free play in the pin and everything and you're not getting the full stroke, but I think it is working good enough to get the thing into gear at the time being. I've checked the water and oil, I've put a battery in it, I haven't checked the starter yet, but I've also got this big cat battery here just to back it up because it hasn't been going for a few years, just to help that because it's only sort of an N50 size in a truck, so it's only 12 volt. This one here's got the mighty 6354 Percodyne in it. These are rated at about 120. You can get pink ones of these, yellow ones and silver ones for different applications, different ratings, but this particular one here is rated about 25 horsepower, so you'll see why. I'm going to try and start her up. I'm not going to bleed the fuel system straight away, we'll just see if she goes, and if not then we'll attack it. She's out of gear, give her a go, stopper's in. It's hard to bleed this one because you don't get the full travel on the lift pump either, so you just crack that screw before I put the camera in. So I'm only getting half a travel on it. Sometimes my primer just running it off ether because the lift pumps, it's so hard to bleed. But you can see the bleed screw under that pipe there. Another nest of them bastards in here. Okay, they're all dead. A bit early for them. Let's focus yours in here. Look what's going on here. It's, yeah, there. See, let me know when the air stops. Goes about $3 on the grass. She seems alright there. Right, lock her up and alright, there's a bit more coming out of her. Not bad. Won't crack any squirters, we'll just see what happens. Put the pliers on the rear. Told you comments about using pliers, it was just easier because I know it's never tight, that screw. Okay, see what happens now. Turn yours around here so you can see the mighty 25 horsepower Percodyne. Okay. She got bad breath, that's for sure, but she does the job. Got to clean all this shit out of here. I might put the hoist up, and I need a little excavator to scratch that out, but it'll do. Get all the loose stuff off. And if it mixes in with the dirt, we'll so be it. We'll just rake it off later. She sat here for a few years. Used to use her all the time till I got the Mac, because it holds only a quarter of what it does, or half of what it does, I suppose. Tend to not use it, but this one's actually got brakes. It's got a park brake and everything, where the Mac we just rely on the bloody brakes dragging. So
It's actually got a 5-speed fuller in it and a 3-speed spicer, so it's twin stick. It's got Hendrickson walking beam suspension, and it's got 38,000 pound rock walls under it. everyone, this is a different day to this video. Started off about 3 weeks ago, but the end of it I deleted when I thought the camera was being downloaded, but that doesn't matter. But I'm using the same truck now to do something else, so I thought I'd just finish this video off with this load. So it's not the same. I was carting dirt up to the house to finish off a garden I was doing, but this stuff's got to go to we're just cleaning up with this stuff. So we'll do an in-cab ride, then tip it off, and then that'll be this end of this video. But it's Saturday morning here. It's very hot. I just worked this morning. I've done about 68 hours this week, and I've nearly had it. That's okay. But in the other episode, probably noticed I've got a different shirt on now. We've got some merchandise in. It's only limited. We got hats, stickers, hoodies and t-shirts. Navy blue. This is navy blue, although it looks black, and there is black. It's only in large and extra large at the moment because it's expensive, just to see how it goes. It's mainly friends buying at the moment, but I'm not looking to make money. It's just more of an advertisement thing really, but we're not making much out of it at all. Don't expect people to pay big money. But this is the t-shirt. As you can see, I'll wear these on truck runs and everything now, and just advertising the channel just to try and make it grow a little bit. So I've just loaded this truck up with the Clark loader, and now it's stopped. It's got plenty of diesel in it, so I don't know what's wrong with it. I'll get it going, then we'll do a cab ride. Okay everyone, hope you enjoyed that. It's getting hotter by the minute here. It's, I don't know, meant to be 35, but it feels like a lot more degrees Celsius, that is. It was certainly hotter in that truck. There's no engine cover, it's just the smoke flying off the manifold. There must be an oil leak, or there is an oil leak. I'm going to be doing a story on those Australian ACCOs. For those of you around the world that may have never seen one, I think they were only in Australia and New Zealand, but they may have been made it to other countries in war efforts. But, that will be coming up. So, but thanks everyone again. If you're interested in shirts or stickers or hats, either way is fine by me. But the link will be one of these corners or in the description. So, as I said, they're not overly expensive. I'm not making much out of them, but if you don't, that's fine. But it's free to click the like button if you want to do that for me and help it grow, or subscribe if you haven't, or share with someone that may be interested. So, thanks everyone for watching.